What's up, guys? I want to talk to you about something a little different today. I'm seeing this wave happening online, and it seems to be happening across millions of people. And by the blessing of the internet, we can talk about it, we can share our stories and relate to one another. And what I'm seeing and want to talk about is spiritual awakenings. Yes. But more specifically, I want to talk about something that I wish someone would have told me sooner on my journey. I wish someone would have come up to me and said, I really understand that what is happening to you is a very meaningful, life altering moment, and you should cherish this. And because I care about you and I love you, I also want to be very direct here and tell you that this experience does not make you special. It's not some rare, once in a lifetime event that only happens to a few chosen people. Seems to be a cycle, seems to be a wave that rolls through millions of people at the same time. Maybe it's a psyop of what we're seeing online, who knows? But depending on your own experience and awakening, I'm betting, if I were a betting man, which I am, that you had a moment or a series of moments of deep realizations, and your world got turned upside down, inside out. You're bathing in light. It was all wham bam, bada bing, bada boom. You crack something. And then what usually happens, and what I'm seeing happening with a lot of people, is that the ego intercepts this experience and tries to hoard it for as long as it possibly can for itself. It grabs onto that and says, I am different now, boy. I am built different. I am Himothy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, take some of the classic attachments that we love to associate with our ego, and it's, the job title you had, the car you drive, the championship your D-tier soccer team had in 2016, the thick head of hair you had. Now imagine this experience, a spiritual awakening, and the ego just frothing at the mouth of trying to arm itself with this. Ditch all the old ones. I am the damn Buddha reincarnated right now. And take a walk through certain spiritual communities in Bali or even online, and you'll see it everywhere. These galaxy-sized egos floating above the ground, convinced that they've finally cracked the code. And I sure thought and believe I did, to a certain degree, crack a code, especially for myself. But I also think that this is exactly where a huge part of the spiritual movement has kind of hit a plateau. Like, we're still trapped in this spiritual ego that wants to keep us there. I'm above it all. I'm separate from normies. I'm enlightened. And it feeds itself on this too. Certain content, certain retreats. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I was no different. When I went through my own in 2018, it shook me to my very core. For 2 weeks straight, I was floating around campus. I was soaking in what I genuinely believed was my heart opening up for the very first time. It was pure bliss. And I thought I hit the jackpot. I thought, this is it. Cash me out. And little did I know it was only the beginning. But I had no real idea of what was happening to me. So I went online. I devoured every book I could, every video I could find online. I even started calling random people and professors at my school to ask, do you know what this is? I sounded like a complete nutcase. But as you might know, naturally you're going to come across a lot of this content online and a lot of videos talking about star seeds and love and light and all this online stuff that really loves to juice up this new budding ego. And at least for me, I easily got attached to this thinking, right? How could you not? Your ego is completely swept up and ungrounded, and it's a very human trap. It's wired into us, and I am still slowly and painfully getting pieced up and chipped away at, my ego. And because these experiences don't just shoot you up into space, it challenges you to come back down and plant yourself firmly into your own messy, beautiful human life as well. To feel the full range of emotions, mistakes, the traumas, the attachments, all the ordinary stuff. And I know that part sucks. But holding on to this special image of that experience doesn't move us forward either. It's like wearing your high school Letterman jacket in your 30s. No bueno. And be honest. How has that been working out for most of us? We're still watching endless YouTube videos probably of, only for the chosen ones, and they will understand, and if you're feeling stuck. But we're still carrying a lot of emotional turmoil and a sense of disconnection. Like, where does that path go next? I can't fathom trying to IV psychedelics into my veins to keep me up there or anything like that. That makes no sense, right? And a lot of this stuff does help. And don't get me wrong, hands down, that experience has been the most meaningful experience of my life, and it's altered the course of my life. But what happened to me and over time was that I kept holding on to this meaning that I created around it, but it no longer held any water. As I started running into the real work and going to therapy and dealing with my relationships, the false image that I kept trying to hold on to felt vapid and groundless. Like, how am I really moving forward? How am I integrating this experience? How am I taking care of myself? How am I taking care of my finances? It's time to come down. And it was actually a gentle nudge from one of my therapists who finally kind of showed me the trap more clearly. And I think there's a saying, about a monkey with his hands through a bar in a cage holding on to a really, really big, juicy piece of fruit, which is this experience. Part of you just doesn't want to let go of that. It makes you special. But we have to. You got to hang up that Letterman jacket. And the coming down is to be more human. And I think that's what I'd like to leave you with and plant maybe in this video, is that, you're not broken. You're not behind. You're not missing the boat or have to get somewhere before your special time runs out. It doesn't make you lose this experience necessarily. Maybe it's a gentle reminder to try to let go, to move on, to plant your feet, to hold this experience in your heart, right? To keep it present with yourself, to have a deeper faith in our day-to-day, and to really learn how to relate deeply to those around you, to become human, to allow yourself to fart, to cry when you start to argue with people. That is where the real work lies. We're not meant to stay in this special, elevated, quote-unquote, chosen place. We're meant to come down, to become human, to learn how to relate more deeply, and that's where the real growth and the real wholeness actually happens. That's how we advance. Now, I wasn't sure about making this video or about this content, but as I'm seeing it online and being talked about, it's such a cool thing to be able to relate to now, because I felt very isolated for a long time, as maybe you can relate to this as well. But we can share and talk about it now. If you are in a similar spot or you don't know who to go to, you sound like a complete nutcase. I understand. I know what that feels like. And I'm here to tell you that you should cherish that moment. But that you're not special. We're just human. And I think that's exactly where the magic is. I might make more content about this, but would love to hear your thoughts. Peace.